Gopijanavalabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopijanavalabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandanam Brajajanaranjanam Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjanam Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Samaveta Gaur Bhaktavrinda ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Maybe we can just get the board and change it. So today we're reading from the 17th chapter called The Divisions of Faith, and we're reading from text 18. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we've got the verse on the board. I'll say one line, you can all say after me. Sadkaramana pujartham tapodambhena chaiva yat kriyate tariha proktam rajasang chalam adhruvam. Sadkaramana pujartham tapodambhena chaiva yat kriyate tadiha proktam rajasang chalam adhruvam. Sadkaramana pujartham tapodambhena chaiva yat kriyate tadiha proktam rajasang chalam adhruvam. Would anybody like to chat? Sadkaramana pujartham tapodambhena chaiva yat kriyate tadiha proktam rajasam chalam adhruvam. Somebody else? No? Okay. I'll go for the word then. That's satkara, respect. Mana, honor. Puja, and worship. Artham, for the sake of. Tapa, austerity. Dambhena, with pride. Cha, also. Eva, certainly. Yat, which. Kriyate, is performed. Tat, that iha, in this world, proktam, is said, rajasam, in the mode of passion, chalam, flickering, adhruvam, temporary. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Penance performed out of pride and for the sake of gaining respect, honor, and worship is said to be in the mode of passion. It is neither stable nor permanent. Purport. Sometimes penance and austerity are executed to attract people and receive honor, respect, and worship from others. Persons in the mode of passion arrange to be worshipped by subordinates and let them wash their feet and offer riches. Such arrangements, artificially made by the performance of penances, are considered to be in the mode of passion. So before I begin speaking, I'd like to offer some prayers to the spiritual masters. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So before beginning to speak, I'd like to seek the blessings of all the assembled audience, assembled devotees. Please pray that I can say something that will be pleasing to the Lord and will be beneficial to all of you. Thank you. So I'll read the verse once again. Penance performed out of pride and for the sake of gaining respect, honor, and worship is said to be in the mode of passion. It is neither stable nor permanent. So here it is saying that penance is performed in the mode of passion is not permanent. In the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, text 5, Krishna says that Yagyadana tapakarma natyajam karyam evacha Yagyadana tapaschaiva pavanani manishino. That austerity, sacrifice, and austerity, charity, and sacrifice, these things, they should never be given up, because these purify even the great souls. So here, so Krishna is saying that if we're going to do some penance, we should do something that we can maintain, that's not impermanent, because we should never actually give up austerity, because it's always purifying us. And actually when we're living in the material world, we're always getting contaminated by so many outside influences, material contaminations, because this material world is actually a place of contamination, place of, it's material. The material world means place of material contamination, because most people here, they're not interested in Krishna consciousness. So for those who are interested in Krishna consciousness, then they have to put in some effort, they have to do some austerity in order to keep themselves pure from the contamination of this world. And that austerity has to be maintained constantly, otherwise we're going to become swayed. We're going to get diverted from the path, and become contaminated by the influences of this world. So Krishna is saying we have to do something that is permanent. And penance in the mode of passion is neither stable nor permanent. It's said that life in the material world is like practicing Krishna consciousness in the material world is like swimming upstream. As soon as you stop swimming, then you go backwards. So you have to keep on making the effort to reconnect with Krishna on a daily basis. And that's why we have this morning program that Srila Prabhupada established for all of us, that every day we come to the temple to see Krishna, to remind us of our purpose in life. And every day we hear from the Srimad Bhagavatam to keep our consciousness on a transcendental level. Otherwise, during the rest of the day, it gets influenced by the modes and by different association of people who are not so much interested in Krishna consciousness. So that's why Prabhupada always he established this program that every day we reconnect to Krishna and remind ourselves of what's important in life, what our priorities are, what's going to give us true happiness, and how we can actually attain that. So we can always be focused on the path. So this is the austerity that he gave us. And this austerity is not something that's to be performed out of pride or for the sake of gaining respect, honor, and worship, because that is in the mode of passion, and that's impermanent. So if we want to perform some austerity that's permanent, then we have to perform it not out of pride, but for the sake of pleasing Krishna. That's the purpose of the austerity that we perform. We perform this austerity of waking up early, so that we can practice spiritual life, chanting the holy name, because this period in the morning is especially beneficial for chanting, meditating, and practicing spiritual life. It's said that whatever we do, whatever spiritual activities we do early in the morning, they have like a greater effect on us than if they were performed at any other time of the day. Although, of course, chanting is to be done always, but especially in the morning, it's very beneficial. We can advance quickly if we practice spiritual life, especially in the morning. And so then, penance performed out of pride and for the sake of gaining respect, honor, and worship is said to be in the mode of passion. So we should perform, in order to get rid of pride, then we should understand how important it is to give up pride, because Krishna actually, he doesn't like pride. And we can see in Krishna's pastimes, many of his pastimes, he acts to cut down the pride of his devotees. Like in the pastime of when Lord Brahma comes to steal the cows and calves, Brahma is thinking that he's the supreme controller and that he can test Krishna, so by taking away his boys and calves. So then he took away all the calves and boys, but then the result was that he became bewildered, because Krishna actually manifested all of the boys and the calves in the same form. And when Brahma saw that, he was bewildered, because he was thinking that I have taken the boys and calves, so how is it that they're all here? And so then he realized that Krishna is actually the supreme controller. He's the supreme Lord, and he can do anything. He's the greatest mystic, so he can do anything. And so then he surrendered to Krishna, and he was offering prayers to Krishna. And Krishna actually, just to show Brahma, remind him of his actual position, he called many different Brahmas from all different universes. And there were Brahmas who were much bigger than the Brahma of this universe, and they had like many more heads. And Brahma was so astonished to see so much opulence, and in that way he was feeling himself very small and very insignificant, and he lost all of his pride. So by Krishna's mercy, then Lord Brahma, he understood his actual position, and then in great happiness he began to serve Krishna and pray to Krishna. And he went back to his abode. And also there's another pastime with Lord Indra. When Lord Indra, he was expecting that the inhabitants of Vrindavan, they would perform a sacrifice for him, but then Krishna told them to perform the sacrifice instead for Govardhan Hill, not for Indra. Then Indra became upset, thinking that, who are these people? They're not worshipping me. And who is this boy Krishna who's so proud that he's telling them that they don't need to worship me? So he became upset. But then by Krishna's mystic power, even though Indra sent lots of rain and storm to punish the inhabitants of Vrindavana, Krishna lifted up Govardhan Hill, and he protected all of the inhabitants of Vrindavana from the terrible rainstorm that Indra caused. And then when Indra saw that his efforts were useless to try to drown the residents of Vrindavana, then he understood that Krishna is actually the Supreme Lord, and then he also went and surrendered to Krishna. And yeah, he gave up his pride also, understanding that Krishna is so great. So one way to give up pride is to understand how great Krishna is. But this we can understand by reading the scriptures, reading the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. By reading the literatures, we understand how great Krishna is and how insignificant we are, that we're just a small part of Krishna. And then we can understand our position, and then we won't become proud. And also in the scriptures there is descriptions of the great devotees of Krishna, how many wonderful qualities they have, and how humble they also are, and how they attain the mercy of Krishna by being humble. And so by hearing about their wonderful qualities, and by being introspective and seeing that we don't have so many wonderful qualities, then we can become humble also. And then we can try to appreciate their qualities and also learn from them. So then instead of becoming proud, then we become humble, and we start to appreciate the qualities in other people. And then that's when we can improve, because somebody who thinks they're perfect, they can't improve. But somebody who's humble, then he can appreciate the qualities of others and improve. And so actually, this is a nice way to stay humble, is to compare ourselves to people who are more advanced than us, to people who we want to be like. So we should try to see the good qualities in the devotees, and then we can see how advanced they are, and then we can try to be like them. And then by seeing how many wonderful qualities other people have, then we'll feel humble and think that, wow, they're so great, I also want to be like them. But and what we shouldn't do is compare ourselves to people who are lower than us, or try to find faults in other people, because by finding faults in other people, then we think that, oh, I'm so good because I don't have this fault, and other people are doing this and that. But then the problem with that is that we don't advance, because we're just comparing ourselves to all these people who are like on a lower level, and just observing the bad qualities. So what happens is that we also start to develop these bad qualities, and we also degrade. So if we want to advance, then we should compare ourselves to people who are more advanced than us, and then we can become humble and we can advance. So that's one way to give up pride. And in the Bhagavad Gita also there's a nice verse. It says, chapter 13, texts 8 to 12. There Krishna describes the process of knowledge, how to get free from entanglement. And the first quality that he lists, first two qualities are amanitvam and adambitvam. Amanitvam means humility, and adambitvam means pridelessness. So these two are important because Krishna mentions them as the first qualifications for advancing in knowledge and attaining liberation. And he mentions it twice, amanitvam and adambitvam, humility and pridelessness, which both basically mean the same thing, but it's like to define something well, you'll say what it is and what it isn't. So he's saying humility and pridelessness, not pride. So Krishna, he's giving stress on this point. And also in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 34, it says, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. That Krishna is saying, just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. So in order to understand the truth, we have to approach a spiritual master, somebody who has seen the truth. And in order to approach somebody, we need to be humble. First of all, we need to realize that we're not perfect. We don't know everything. And we need to approach somebody who can give us true knowledge. And then we need to inquire from them submissively. Submissively. To be submissive, it implies that you need to be humble. And then, not in a challenging mood. So humility is important to start our spiritual life. And so in this verse, it is said that we should approach the spiritual master. So the association of devotees is also very important for us in advancing in spiritual life, because the devotees, they're very kind. They help us to become humble by pointing out where we can improve. So if we associate with the devotees, then easily we can become humble and we can advance also if we have the right mood, if we are humble enough to be open to their advice, then we can advance in our Krishna consciousness. So that's why association of devotees is also very important for practicing spiritual life. And in the purport to the verse from chapter 13 saying amanitvam adambitvam, in the purport Srila Prabhupada explains that humility means to not be anxious, to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. So we should be introspective and see what is our motive for doing something. Is it so that other people will appreciate us, or is it so that Krishna will be pleased? So if it's not, if it's for getting honor from others, then that's in the mode of passion. And then we should correct our attitude. Our attitude is the most important for our advancement in spiritual life. And the preface to the Nectar of Instruction, Srila Prabhupada writes that advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. Attitude is most important. Jai Shri Radha Gokulanand ki jai, Shri Bonitai ki jai, Staram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai. Yeah, so it's important what we do, but even more important than what we do is why we do it. Because actually, we can't attain Krishna just by performing austerity. We can attain Krishna only when he reveals himself to us. And Krishna reveals himself to us when he's pleased with us. And in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a nice verse describing how the mood with which we should chant the holy name, and it's saying that Krishna is very pleased by our humble mood, and when we become humble and meek, then that actually attracts Krishna's mercy. So of course we should try our best to serve Krishna, but we should also have the right attitude that I want to please Krishna, and we should do it in a humble mood, thinking that I'm the humble servant of Krishna, and actually the servant of the servant of the servants of Krishna. We don't approach Krishna directly, but we approach him through his devotees. In the Nectar of Devotion, it said one of the qualities of devotional service is that it's sudurlabha. It's difficult to attain, because it is there it explains that it can't be attained by austerity, by any amount of austerity. And even Krishna himself, he doesn't give it so easily, because by pure devotional service, Krishna becomes controlled by the devotee. So actually the only way that we can attain Krishna is by the mercy of the devotees. That's what is explained there. And to attain the mercy of the devotees, then we need to be humble. To get the mercy of the devotees, we need to serve them with humility. Then we can attain the mercy of the devotees. So yeah, in this purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying that we can actually measure our advancement in Krishna consciousness by these qualities, by being introspective and asking ourselves, why am I doing this particular service? Is it for gaining honor? Am I looking for praise after I do some service, or am I just doing it to the best of my ability just to please Krishna? And I'm not. It doesn't matter if people praise me or not. This is the test of our advancement in Krishna consciousness. We shouldn't test our advancement by how people praise us, because Prabhupada writes that praise pertaining, honor and dishonor pertaining to the body, they're all useless, because they all end with the body. When the body will soon die, but the soul are eternal. And so the intelligent person is more concerned about the soul and what will be for his eternal benefit. And so he engages in devotional service just for the pleasure of Krishna, because that will give him eternal benefit. And he's not so much concerned about honor and dishonor of the material body. Yeah, so here it says, penance performed out of pride and for the sake of gaining respect, honor, and worship is said to be in the mode of passion. It is neither stable nor permanent. So a nice way also to be able to develop humility is to pray to Krishna, just to pray to Krishna sincerely, because Krishna is very kind to his devotees, and he always helps his devotees, especially to remove pride. There's actually a nice pastime in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which explains how Krishna removes the pride of, Lord Chaitanya removes the pride of Vallabha. I thought I'll just read it here. It's a little bit of it. It's from the Antya Lila. So every year the devotees, they would come from Navadvip to Puri to see Lord Chaitanya. And this year Vallabha also came to see Lord Chaitanya. When Vallabha arrived, he offered his obeisances at the lotus feet of the Lord, accepting him as a great devotee. And the Lord embraced him. With great respect, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu seated Vallabha near him Then Vallabhabhata very humbly began to speak. For a long time, he said, I have desired to see you, my Lord. Now Lord Jagannath has fulfilled this desire. Therefore I am seeing you. One who receives your audience is fortunate indeed, for you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. Since one who remembers you is purified, why should it be astonishing that one becomes purified by seeing you? Without being especially powered by Krishna, one cannot manifest ecstatic love for Krishna, for Krishna is the only one who gives us ecstatic love. That is the verdict of all revealed scriptures. So then he's offering prayers to Lord Chaitanya. And then Lord Chaitanya replies, My dear Vallabhabhata, you are a learned scholar. Kindly listen to me. I am a sannyasi of the Mayavad school. Therefore, I have no chance of knowing what Krishna Bhakti is. So you see here, Lord Chaitanya, one way of teaching his devotees how to be humble is by his own example. So Lord Chaitanya is the greatest scholar, but here he says that I have no chance of knowing what Krishna Bhakti is. And he calls Vallabhabhata a very learned scholar, and he says that I have no chance of knowing what Krishna Bhakti is. Nevertheless, my mind has become purified because I have associated with Advaitacharya, who is directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here he's saying that although I don't I'm not able to know this on my own, but because of the mercy of the devotee, Advaitacharya, then I got a chance to know about Krishna. So here we can see how Lord Chaitanya's attitude of humility is there. And then he's saying also, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, the Avaduta, is also directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is always intoxicated with the madness of ecstatic love. Indeed, he is an ocean of love of Krishna. So now he's glorifying the different devotees, so that Vallabhabhata, he begins to see how wonderful all the other devotees are. So then this is part of the way Lord Chaitanya very gently is decreasing the pride of Vallabhabhata by glorifying all the other devotees. He goes on to glorify different devotees. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has shown me the limit of devotional service. Only by his mercy have I understood that devotional service to Krishna is the essence of all mystic yoga. And so he's saying, from Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, I have come to understand that devotional service to Krishna is the essence of all mystic yoga. Srila Ramananda Roy is the ultimate knower of the transcendental mellows of Lord Krishna's devotional service. He has instructed me that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You see, so he's taking instructions from different devotees. So he goes on to glorify different devotees. So this is the way Lord Chaitanya, he begins to instruct Vallabhabhata on how to become humble. And also there's another pastime of when Lord Chaitanya defeats Keshava Kashmiri, that he does in a very gentle way. Because Keshava Kashmiri, no, not Keshava Kashmiri, Digvijay, the Digvijay Pandit. This Digvijay Pandit, he's a great scholar, and he goes all around the country defeating the scholars, the greatest scholars of the place, and getting them to sign a paper saying that he's been defeated by the Digvijay. So that's why his name is Digvijay. Dig means direction, and Vijay means victory. So he got this title, Digvijay, meaning that he was victorious in all directions. So then he wanted to come to Navadvip because he heard that Navadvip was the place of learning and all the greatest scholars were present in Navadvip. So he came to Navadvip and he wanted to meet with Nimai Pandit because Nimai Pandit was very famous as a great scholar. So then he came to meet him, and at that time Lord Chaitanya was teaching his students on the bank of the Ganges. And so Digvijay Pandit came there, and he wanted to discuss with Lord Chaitanya, who at that time was known as Nimai Pandit. And so, Lord Chaitanya asked him to compose some verses glorifying Mother Ganges. Again, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya is so expert at speaking very sweetly. He said that you're such a great scholar. Why don't you compose some beautiful poetry about Mother Ganges? So then, very happily, he at once composed 100 verses glorifying the Ganges, this Digvijay Pandit. And then Lord Chaitanya, he was saying, wow, this is such a beautiful poetry that you have composed. Only you could have composed such a wonderful poetry just like this on the spot. But he said, just there's one little thing in one of the verses. So Lord Chaitanya had actually memorized all of the 100 verses that he had just recited, and he quoted, in this and this verse, there's a little error, and can you please explain it? And the Devijay, he couldn't explain it. He said, no, everything I've done is perfect. So he couldn't explain it. And then the students, they started to laugh. Lord Chaitanya's students, that this great Digvijay, he has defeated everyone in all directions, but he has been defeated by this young teacher, Nimai Pandit. But Lord Chaitanya, he understanding the heart and feelings of the Digvijay, he told his students not to laugh. He said, no, don't laugh. He said, okay, no problem. You just think about it, and you can come back and tell me tomorrow morning. So in this way, Lord Chaitanya was very kind with him. And so he went home. Of course, he understood that he had been defeated. So then he went to pray to Mother Saraswati. He said, how is it that you didn't help me this time? How is it that I could become defeated? And not even by such a great scholar, just by this young teacher of grammar. So Mother Saraswati said that actually this is not ordinary teacher of grammar, this is Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he's my Lord, so I can't defeat him. You had better go and surrender to him. So then the next morning he went and he came to the Lord Chaitanya and he surrendered to him. So in this way we can see how Lord Chaitanya is so kind that although he decreases the pride of his devotees, he destroys the pride, but he does so in such a nice way. So we can pray to Lord Chaitanya to help us develop true humility. And actually this is Lord Chaitanya's instruction to us, that we should always remain in a humble state of mind. Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi seshnuna amanena manadena kirtaniya sadahari. That one should chant the holy names of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw on the street. One should be more tolerant than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and always ready to offer all respects to others. Because in such a state of mind, one can chant the holy names of the Lord constantly. So what does it mean to be more tolerant than a tree? It means that if somebody does something to annoy us or to upset us, then we don't become disturbed. Like a tree, it remains silent. Even if somebody takes the fruits, pulls the fruits off it, or pulls the leaves off it, or even cuts a branch off it, the tree remains silent. It doesn't protest. So similarly, the devotee of the Lord, he is always tolerant and he's humble. Just like one should be tolerant than the tree and humble like a blade of grass. Humble like a grass. The grass, even if somebody steps on them, they don't mind. They just stand back up. So in this way, we can chant the holy names of the Lord. So one may ask that, how is this possible to have this attitude? And but in the Bhagavatam, it's explained nicely the attitude of the devotee. It says, Tate nukampam susamikshamano vunjana evadma kritam vipakam Hirdvagva purve vedadhan namaste Jivetayo mukti pade sadaya bhag. That the devotee of the Lord, even though he gets some suffering from other people, he remains. He doesn't become disturbed because he sees everything as the merciful hand of the Lord. That Krishna, he arranges everything for the devotee who surrenders unto him, and he sees everything as just a small token punishment, that a small price to pay for attaining the eternal kingdom of God. So he never becomes upset by whatever suffering he gets in his life, but he always sees it as just a small price to pay for attaining to the eternal kingdom of God. In this verse it says that the devotee of the Lord, he always waits for the mercy of the Lord, all the while patiently suffering the results of his past previous sinful activities, and all the while he continues to worship the Lord with his mind, his words, and his intelligence. And in this way, attaining the kingdom of God becomes his rightful claim. So this is how, this is the attitude of the devotee. This is the attitude that we should have, and by this attitude, Krishna is pleased. And it is said in this verse that just by always being faithful to Krishna, being devoted to Krishna, and hoping for his mercy, doing everything just to try to get his mercy, and never becoming angry with Krishna, never thinking that, oh, why is God doing this to me? Instead, the devotee always thinks that, I'm supposed to get actually much more suffering because of my past sinful activities, but Krishna is actually just giving me a small portion. So the devotee always accepts everything just as the mercy of Krishna, thinking that I should be suffering much more, but because of Krishna's mercy, I just have to suffer a little bit. So he never becomes angry with Krishna. Instead, he always continues to worship Krishna with devotion and faith, and then in this way, he attains the kingdom of God, which is free from all suffering. So he sees this as just as a small price to pay. So it's 5 to 7. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Yes.
One small thing. In text 17, the penance and mode of goodness has been talked about. So, but the translation, by reading the translation, it seems that this is quite similar to penance and mode of pure goodness, right? So, just want to understand what's the difference between penance and goodness and pure goodness.
Okay, let me just read it. I didn't read this verse. This threefold austerity, performed with transcendental faith by men not expecting material benefits, but engaged only for the sake of the Supreme, is called austerity and goodness. Okay, so you're saying that this seems like pure goodness because it's austerity performed for the Supreme. Let's see.
And there is no purport to it.
Yeah.
And not just for austerity, for several other things also, wherein Krishna describes this is what is the characteristic of goodness, this is the passion, the ignorance. Many things that are described for goodness seem to be that of pure goodness. So how do we understand?
Okay, thank you for your question. Well, what I've understood is that goodness is actually, what we can take from this is that goodness is very conducive for spiritual life. And sometimes it's almost taken on the same level of spiritual life. So if we cultivate the mode of goodness, it's almost like we're practicing spiritual life. All we need to do is add Krishna to the mode of goodness, and then very easily we can advance in spiritual life. Just like there's in the Nectar of Instruction, there's this verse, Utsahan Nisched Dharyat Tat Karma Pravartanat. It's describing the six qualities which ensure pure devotional service. That the first is Utsahan, being enthusiastic. And if we read in the Bhagavad Gita, the qualities of the mode of goodness are also performing one's duties with enthusiasm, with determination, and with faith. Here it says, with transcendental faith. So all of these things, they're conducive to devotional service. That's why Krishna speaks a lot about the modes of nature, and and advises us that we should try to develop the mode of goodness, because once we develop the mode of goodness, then very easily we can practice spiritual life, practice devotional service. Also, it's in the mode of goodness, it's described that we understand what is religion and what is not religion. So I guess that's also a link, because once we understand what religion is, then religion means serving the Lord. So then one who understands what religion is and what should be done, what should not be done, then we would naturally engage in the service of the Lord. Because in another verse it says that one who is in the mode of goodness, he can understand what should be done, what should not be done. And in the mode of goodness we get real knowledge. So then once we get real knowledge, then real knowledge is to engage in the service of the Lord. I don't know if that helped, yeah? Does anybody have anything else? You want to add something?
It says, even to become a human being, one needs a very level of goodness. Even to become a human being.
Okay.
So it's raising the status of the human being to a human being. The level of goodness. Then we can practice spirituality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What we strive for.
Yeah. The best process to take to devotional service, because then Krishna helps us to come to the mode of goodness and to help to attain devotional service. So I think we need to stop now, because the arati is going to happen any minute now. Thank you all for listening so patiently. And please attend the arati also. Hare Krishna.
I sang 12:30, I sang 4:30, you see.
Kiva Jaya Jaya Gora Chande Arati Keshava Chandra